We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Ryan Garcia does not believe that Terence Crawford could beat Canelo. Payday. Yo, I know that. You don't believe it. In a brand new interview with All the Smoke, Ryan Garcia has some things to say. In this video, I'm going to break down what he had to say about Crawford and how he believes he cannot defeat Payday Alvarez. From the top, now in a brand new interview again with Ring Champs, Ryan Garcia had this to say, quote, he being Terence Crawford can't beat Canelo, no way. I don't see him beating Canelo. He didn't even look that strong against Israel Madrimov, his last fight. To be honest, and Madrimov isn't even that big. They have two different styles. That's what the host had to say, you know. And the other host said in and out counter punching. And Ryan followed up by says the thing with Canelo is he's mastered his style and he ain't gonna change up. He's mastered it. He understands what's going on in the ring at all times. I just don't see Terence beating him. I don't. End quote. Now, I find it funny in boxing media where you have people asking fighters their opinion. And then when the fighter gives their honest opinion where maybe it doesn't align with the person asking the question, I can tell by the follow-up that it really feels like they feel a type of way at that answer. So you'll have the questionnaire or the interviewer and they almost seem mad that the fighter gave their honest opinion. But my thing is, at the end of the day, you're asking a pro athlete what they think. So it's really about them in an interview with them. And, you know, whether you agree with it or not, you got to kind of let them speak. That's just what I believe in, you know, at the end of the day. But I've noticed that a lot in boxing media where if it could be anything, it doesn't have to be about a fight prediction, but you ask a fighter X, Y, and Z, and then the fighter gives you the response. Sometimes it seems like the interviewer doesn't like what they have to say. So their follow-up questions seem like they're not happy with the answer almost. You know what I mean? Now, I am the best in the business and it's not even close. And I keep showing it. I keep proving my worth, punching above my weight class. I do everything by myself. I don't have a big, massive team or anything, right? And the evidence speaks for itself. I put out these videos, I put out the content, and I make hits. And later on, you oftentimes see fighters telling you what I said from the jump. And I know for a fact that some of these fighters watch my channels because they follow me on every platform, right? Like Ryan follows me on Instagram and Twitter and several other fighters, right? So we definitely got some reach over here. And the good thing about my position is I'm able to give my opinion immediately because I have a home studio and I have microphones, multiple microphones. So if I'm in a hotel room, no matter if I'm in a coffee shop, no matter where I'm at, I can record quality videos. There's a lot of low quality content available in boxing. So that being said, Ryan is not telling you anything that I haven't already told you. And the people who watch my channel, they can attest to this. Crawford is a phenomenal fighter. But of course, if you bite off more than you can chew, then people are going to have questions. People are going to have doubts. And as a top tier athlete, you should expect that, right? There's a lot of Crawford supporters and even Crawford's inner circle. Like I have people from Crawford's team hitting me up like, oh yeah, and saying, I can't wait till September. Like, Why are you so pressed about what I got to say? Like, it's so funny to me, to the point where people on his team are reaching out. Like, if Canelo gets knocked out by Crawford, that's content for me. If Crawford gets knocked out, that is content for me. A lot of people have clownish behavior. You don't understand this game. I am a content creator. Of course, I am going to put out content that I believe in, that I support. But at the end of the day, I don't care what happens. I'm getting paid and I'm going to further my brand. I am not the fighter. I am not lacing them up. I lose nothing in September, August, October, November, December. It don't matter what fight it is. It don't matter what month it is. If everybody gets upset, if it's a double knockout, Boxing Ego gonna win. And the sooner you guys realize that. See, that's how I can always tell. People are like, oh, you hate this fighter. Oh, you're against this fighter. I have no reason to be against. I'm not a fan anymore. Like, just purely a fan where I don't know the last time I bought a ticket to go to a boxing match. I get in for free because I get credentials. You see what I'm saying? So it's a big difference over here. And everything I said about Crawford, I give him his props. He is a very special athlete. He's great. He's good. But all that can be negated when you put him out of position. Like, that's like a fish can swim good until you take it out that water. How's the fish gonna look when you take him about that water? So yeah, he's doing his thing in the water where he belongs, in his habitat. But what happens if you take a fish out of water, right? So the comparison is fighters, no matter how good or special they are, if they fight outside of their true weight class, there's a chance it's a fish out of water. That's it. No more, no less. You guys can accept it. It don't matter. You like what I'm saying, you don't like, it's not going to change. You're going to have to show me in September. And if Crawford does that, then so be it. I'll give him his props. No more, no less. But I said what Ryan is saying, and it's funny because I get a lot of flack because I'm a YouTuber. Oh, you're just a YouTuber. You don't know. Okay, well, Ryan's not, and he's saying exactly what I've been telling you. He's saying that Madrimov didn't, like, you know, he's not the biggest dude. He kind of big, but he's not that big. You know what I mean? And Crawford's power looked very manageable at 154. And then he refuses to fight another 154-pound fight to show us that it was just because of Madrimov, right? He's not fighting any tune-ups. It doesn't look like at 160, 168. So yeah, I can't just give you that and expect that you're going to be the same exact fighter, because to me, that's not even a sensible move. You should really do a tune-up. But the fact that Crawford's team once and done with Canelo leads me to believe that this is a payout type of fight, because at the end of the day, what fighter would not want to do a tune-up with that weight to acclimate properly to that weight? They just like, nah, I don't want that. I want to go straight into a guy who, if he beats Skull, will be undisputed for a second time. I want to go straight into that with no tune-ups, no processing time at the weight, nothing. That, to me, all that stuff sounds bad. And Crawford, by the time September rolls around, he turns 38 in September, and he will have been out the ring for a year. So for me, all of these things factored in, it doesn't give me more hope for Crawford. Now, when I do these breakdowns, I give you my honest opinion. When I do these breakdowns, I factor in every piece of information and data points that I have. These are the data points for this particular fight. And to be honest, I don't like them for Crawford. Too many things against him. Moving up in weight, Crawford, no tune-up. Canelo pretty much doing a tune-up fight with a guy with minimal power in May. Why is the guy that has experience at that weight and the higher weights, why is he doing the tune-up instead of the smaller guy who needs to prepare for the weight class? So the whole fight is stupid to me, and Ryan ain't saying nothing that I haven't already said. Bud's power looked like it was manageable, like I keep saying, at 54 versus Madrimov. So now he's going to move up 14 pounds in one fell swoop naturally, right? Naturally, and he's gonna maintain more power or have more power than he had or showed versus Madrimov. And then people can say whatever they want. Oh, but Madrimov, he feints a lot. Who cares? Canelo got great feints. What are we talking about? It's not, the style of fight is not the same, Madrimov and Canelo, but Canelo got 6 times the amount of fights that Madrimov got. So experience goes to Canelo. Resume goes to Canelo. Chin goes to Canelo. Power, given the fact that one's a 54-pounder and Canelo is not getting steamrolled at 75 and 68, meaning Bivol didn't just go in there and knock him out, and he knocked out Kovalev. So he clearly has some power and pop at 68. He stopped Caleb Plant, a phenomenal fighter, right? So when I'm looking at it, if Crawford is even remotely struggling with Madrimov in his first fight, if he's supposed to be who he's supposed to be, then it doesn't give me hope in the Canelo fight. You know what I mean? It doesn't. And he's about to be 38. Like, so he got grays in his beard. It's not even like a younger 27-year-old, 26-year-old bud. You know what I mean? So I don't like this fight. I never liked the fight. I've always maintained the same thing on my channel. And no bud buddy has come out and provided a logic that I have not already thought of that made more sense than what I'm saying, period. People are like, oh, but Bud, he knocked out everyone at welterweight. Well, Canelo's far removed from being a welterweight. So what does that have to do with anything? Or in my comment section, you bums be like, oh, but you said this for Errol Spence. You've already failed, my guy. That's how that works. The fact that you brought up Errol Spence, a Black American fighter from DeSoto, Dallas, Texas, that has zero to do with Canelo Alvarez, you have failed. You have failed immensely. That's like if you have a friend named Tom and you want to have a swimming contest or whatever, see who could swim faster, right? And Tom is like, I'll beat you. And then Tom says, oh, but you lost to Michael Phelps. Yeah, but you ain't Michael Phelps. So what does that have to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, people in boxing are either slow or something is wrong. It's not registering. Like, what are we talking about? Like, people's careers, styles, attributes. We are humans. The thing that makes us unique as humans are our different path, our different stories, you know, different upbringing, different ethnicities. Like, it's like one person's taste palette, they can handle spicy food, but somebody else, they might have medical issues and their body and their stomach can't deal with the capsaicin, you know, so they aren't able to eat spicy food. What are we talking about? Again, the moral of the story, the point I am driving home is just like different people have different taste buds, and I've seen people eat Chipotle and say that is spicy, but to me, it's not spicy at all. But again, to some people, maybe it is, right? Maybe it's too peppery or whatnot. So these things aren't interchangeable, right? Errol Spence's career is not interchangeable with Canelo. Canelo didn't go through a horrific car accident. Canelo hasn't fought at welterweight in decades. You know what I mean? So it's like the fact that the first thing out your mouth is like, oh yeah, ego, you said this with Errol Spence, lets me know that I am further than you and more advanced in boxing, because that's almost analogous to a triangle theory, right? Where triangle theories do not work. It has been proven so many times. Triangle theories do not work in the sport of boxing. They simply don't. You can try to do these mathematical equations. This guy beat this guy, so therefore guy C should beat guy A. It doesn't work, right? So if anybody leaves me a comment talking about Errol Spence, oh, you said this with Errol Spence, when we're not talking about Crawford rematching Errol Spence in September. The conversation is Canelo at 168 with no rehydration clause versus Crawford. So talk about Danny, champ of the world. Talk about Danny. Talk about the subject at hand. And a lot of you guys are good for this. You guys are good for, let's bring up a whole bunch of different elements that have nothing to do with the actual conversation at hand. We're talking Canelo Crawford, 168, no rehydration clause. That's it. So unless there's a key reason to bring up a past opponent, like they have similar styles or then it doesn't even matter. So yeah, that's how I know we already been beat these dudes. They talking about Errol Spence still. Just like you have people on my channel who, I'm so great at what I do. I am the best in the business and it's not even close. So great that they still bring up Errol Spence lost. Deontay Wilder lost to Fury. I'm talking about fights that are years old at this point because I get so many things right and accurate to draw from. They don't have like a bunch of recent commentary from me that was way off. So they have to go through history to find the times where I said something where my prediction was wrong. But you look at other content creators, Brand X, you can find that from them this year where they were way off or their prediction didn't amount to ish and it was way off and the opposite happened. So I take that as a compliment. It's like somebody being in great shape and then you doing it naturally and somebody's like, oh, you on steroids. You think that a person has to have ill-gotten results because they're in such great shape. You know what I mean? So to be honest, it's a compliment that people, the haters and naysayers, have to go back through years of history to find those onesie twosies where I was really wrong in boxing. But anyway, back to Crawford and Canelo. I never liked this fight. I've always been vocal on the fight. Crawford himself said that he can't go above 54 until recently. And then now he's maybe drinking some of his own Kool-Aid. His team is gaslighting him. Fans are gaslighting him. And he's like, yeah, I'll beat Canelo at 168. You know, good luck to that. But for me, if you really wanted to make it believable, beat Berlanga at 168. Beat Diego Pacheco at 168. If you, cause like for real, some people are like, no, come on, Ego, that's too dangerous. Then that's my point exactly, right? If you think that these guys that Canelo has beat, or guys who haven't done what Canelo's done, like Diego Pacheco, or a guy he beat like Berlanga or Munguia, if you think that's too dangerous for Bud, then why do you want to see Canelo? And Canelo's better and proven better than all of those guys I just mentioned to this point, right? So that's what's wrong with the Bud Buddies. If you suggest that Canelo fight anyone other than Canelo at 168 to show what he's talking about in the higher weights, they look at it as a death sentence. They're like, what? This is ridiculous. Remember when Boxing Ego and Floyd Mayweather said that Terence Crawford should fight against David Benavidez? The Bud Buddies took offense to that. Oh, how could Floyd say that? Boxing Ego is crazy. Why do they want to see? They just want Bud to lose. So you're assuming he loses to David Benavidez. It's still the same weight class. Benavidez was at 168 when we were saying it, right? But you look at that as a spit in the face because you know that Crawford would have his hands full in a fight like that and it probably wouldn't play out good. So that the weight is the weight is the weight. So if these other fights are offensive to you, except for the major payday fight with Canelo, then that tells me what I need to know. The reason you feel that is because Bud doesn't really belong at 168. Again, we're talking about the head honcho that's currently still at 168, Canelo Alvarez. He wants to go straight into that, which conveniently has a big jackpot attached to it, right? And you don't want him to show his worth or prove his worth, or show, not even prove his worth, but just show that he can beat anybody. Like, so that's my thing. I guess that's a brilliant way for me to say it. It's not even so much that Terence Crawford and Canelo per se. It's anybody who's top level at 168, to me, will give Terence Crawford major problems, if not beat him. So there's that. You know, like if he fought Demetrius Andrade, Caleb Plant, if he fought Berlanga, if he fought Munguia, if he fought Canelo, Morrell, David Morrell when he was there, David Benavidez, all of these would be very dangerous fights. And I'm talking about under the same circumstance. Like, move straight up, no tune-ups, get with snack or whatever you got to do, and jump up from 54 Madrimov to fight David Benavidez at 168. Bro, it would be crazy. But because Canelo happens to be the biggest name of the bunch and the smallest stature of the bunch, you guys think, oh, this is going to be different. So again, you could believe me, believe Ryan, believe something else. It don't matter. The pay's still the same for me. I don't like the fight. We unpacked. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that.